She was just meters away from home, her front door almost in sight, and somehow she never made it inside. Wild, right? Like, what are the odds? You're literally walking up your own street, probably thinking about tea or scrolling through your Nokia, and then poof, gone. That's exactly what happened to 18-year-old Deirdre Jacob in broad daylight in Newbridge, County Kildare. People vanish at night, sure. People vanish in sketchy spots, yeah. But Deirdre, she disappeared in the safest, most boring setting possible, her hometown street in the middle of the afternoon. And that's what makes this case so unnerving. So first up, we've got Deirdre Jacob. She's 18, she's from Newbridge, County Kildare, and she's home for the summer. She's studying teacher training in London, which already tells you she had her life planned out. Solid head on her shoulders, future mapped. She wasn't the type to just drop everything and run away. Then we've got her parents, Bernadette and Michael Jacob. Regular Irish parents, you know. They're waiting for their daughter to come home from errands that day. Think about that, just a normal day, expecting to hear the gate click, kettle on, daughter back from town. Except the gate never clicked. And finally, the name that creeps into way too many Irish true crime stories, Larry Murphy, convicted rapist, known criminal. His name floats around like some cursed rumor whenever a woman disappears. And yeah, his name gets tied to Deirdre's case too. Whether he was there or not, that's the debate. But the fact that people even think he might be involved, that's enough to make the whole story 10 times scarier. So let's walk it step by step. It's the afternoon of July 28, 1998, a regular summer's day in Newbridge, County Kildare. Nothing strange, nothing off. At around 2 in the afternoon, Deirdre is caught on CCTV strolling down Main Street. She's just a teenager running errands, bank, post office, maybe thinking about London and heading back to college life. Totally normal. Then she pops into the Abe Bank, walks out with a bank draft in her hand. This isn't some shady corner of town. It's broad daylight in the middle of the high street with people everywhere. After that, she makes her way to the post office, and here's the kicker, she's actually seen waiting in line. People literally remember standing there with her. Nobody noticed anything strange. Next, she bumps into a friend outside the post office. They chat for a bit. Just a normal, everyday conversation. No sign she's worried, no something's wrong vibe. She's relaxed. Then she's spotted outside another bank, the PTSB in town. Again, totally visible, middle of the day, people walking past. And by the time the clock hits around 3, she's on her way home. Her last confirmed sighting, walking toward her family house on Barrettstown Road. She's basically at her own front gate, seconds away from safety, but she never goes inside. No fight in the street, no screaming neighbors, no sign of a struggle. She just didn't make it through the gate. Now here's where the case stops being just a missing person and flips into straight up mystery territory. First, the bag. Deirdre had this black satchel bag with a giant yellow cat logo on it. Kind of impossible to miss, right? That bag has never been found. Not in a ditch, not in a skip, not anywhere. It's like the thing got vacuumed off the planet. Second, 20 years after she vanished, the guards changed the file. No longer a missing person. They straight up called it a murder investigation. That's heavy. When the cops actually say, yeah, we don't think she walked away, we think someone killed her, that changes the whole vibe. Third twist, enter Larry Murphy. Convicted predator, already notorious. And then suddenly his name is whispered in connection with Deirdre. Rumors come out that he supposedly bragged in prison about abducting a woman in Newbridge. Nothing proven, no charges, but his name still haunts this story. And here's another curveball. In 2021, guards went digging in woodland near the Kildare-Wicklow border after getting new leads. They tore up the place for weeks. People thought this was it, finally after decades we'd get answers. Instead, they found traces of an old settlement, an ancient site, cool for archaeologists, useless for the Jacobs. So here's the part that makes everyone's brain hurt. Deirdre was right at the entrance to her family's home. She should have been seconds away from walking in, maybe putting the kettle on, maybe telling her mom about town. Instead, nothing. That leaves us with some brutal questions. Could someone have been waiting at her gate, like parked up, pretending to be busy, just waiting for her to appear? Or did Deirdre stop to talk to someone she actually knew? Because remember, this is her hometown. People knew her. It wouldn't be strange for a neighbor or an acquaintance to stop her for a quick chat. Or maybe the darker theory: a car pulls up, someone slows down, calls out, and she's suddenly in a situation she couldn't get out of. The whole window for this vanishing was insanely tight. We're talking minutes. And here's the kicker: people were around, cars on the road, neighbors nearby, yet not a single clear witness to what happened in those final steps. From the start, the guards threw everything they had at this case. They took over 2,000 witness statements. They chased more than 3,000 separate lines of inquiry. That's a mountain of paperwork, interviews, follow-ups. But here's the problem: none of it cracked the case. No body, no bag, no smoking gun, just silence. Then 2 decades later, the guards flipped the script. They officially reclassified Deirdre's file as a murder investigation. That's not just a change of label, that's them saying out loud, yeah, we believe someone killed her. Heavy stuff. Fast forward to 2021, the guards even built a murder case file and sent it to the director of public prosecutions. And you'd think after all those years, maybe this was the moment charges would land. But in 2022, the DPP came back with the worst news possible: no prosecution. Translation: not enough evidence. No one in court. Case still stuck in limbo. And that's the part that haunts people, because it's not like nobody tried. It's that even with all the efforts, Deirdre's last few steps remain a black hole in the timeline. So let's talk about the guy whose name just will not leave Irish true crime: Larry Murphy. If there was a bingo card for missing women in Ireland, his name would be right in the center square. Here's the deal: Murphy was convicted of a brutal abduction and assault in 2000. He's the kind of guy that makes headlines every time he breathes near a case like this. Naturally, people start asking, could he have been involved in Deirdre's disappearance? Some reports claim he even bragged in prison about abducting a woman in Newbridge. But let's be real, jailhouse gossip isn't exactly the most trustworthy evidence. The guards dug into it, but they couldn't prove he was in Newbridge the day Deirdre vanished. That's a massive hole. Suspicion? Yeah, plenty. Concrete proof? None. And here's one of the creepiest details. Years later, when Deirdre's grandmother passed away, her belongings were sorted. Among them, a piece of paper with Larry Murphy's name and phone number scribbled on it. Totally unexplained. Could be innocent. Could be the world's biggest coincidence. Or maybe not. But to this day, Murphy hasn't been charged in connection to Deirdre. His name just hovers like a shadow. Now imagine being Bernadette and Michael Jacob. One minute your daughter is walking home, the next minute she's just gone. No goodbye, no explanation, no nothing. Every year that passes, you're still looking at the same gate she never walked through. You're still waiting for the sound of footsteps on the gravel, and instead of answers, you get anniversaries. 20 years, 25 years, each one feels like rubbing salt into a wound that never heals. Bernadette has said many times that Deirdre wasn't the type to vanish. No teenage rebellion, no hidden drama. She was steady, focused, planning her future. That makes the silence even worse. Because when someone disappears without a trace, families cling to hope. But when the guards officially call it murder, that hope takes a serious hit. And here's the cold truth. For the Jacobs, this isn't just an old mystery. It's daily life. They wake up every morning knowing their daughter's story ends a few meters from home, with questions still hanging in the air. Here's the part that keeps people up at night. Deirdre was seen on her own road, her house literally in sight. She was seconds away from safety, and somehow that's the exact spot where the world swallowed her whole. Think about it. All the CCTV in town shows her alive, walking, chatting, carrying her bag. Dozens of people saw her that day. But the second she steps onto the road where she should have been safest, silence, like the earth just erased her. And that's the twist. Home is supposed to be the place where you're untouchable, where you can finally relax, close the door, and drop your guard. For Deirdre, home wasn't the ending. It was the last step she never got to take. So, yeah, maybe someone was waiting at the gate. Maybe it was a car pulling up. Maybe it was someone she trusted. Nobody knows. But what we do know is that in broad daylight on a busy road, an 18-year-old girl disappeared without leaving a single trace. And the most haunting part, somewhere out there somebody knows exactly what happened. They've known for over 20 years and they're still silent. So here's where we're left. An 18-year-old girl walks home in broad daylight, practically on her own doorstep, and then she's just gone. No witnesses, no bag, no answers. The guards tried. The family never stopped pushing. But after all these years, the truth is still sitting out there, waiting for someone to finally spill it. And that's the thing, man. Somebody knows. Somebody saw something. Maybe it felt too small to matter. Maybe they didn't want to get involved. Maybe they're scared. But that tiny piece of information could be the thing that finally gives the Jacobs the closure they deserve. So yeah, the case of Deirdre Jacob isn't just some spooky Irish mystery to binge on YouTube. It's an open wound for a family that's been waiting over 2 decades for an answer. Home should have been the safe place. For Deirdre, it turned out to be the one place she never got to reach. And that right there is the cruelest twist of all.